Good afternoon, Union brothers and sisters. Um, we are definitely living in historic times. Without a doubt, a message this week would not be complete without first addressing the social unrest that's occurring in our country. And let me be clear that the video images of George Floyd's life being snuffed out in front of us has shaken me to my core. It has shaken society. Um, But in all honesty, I can't say that I am surprised that we have seen another incident. The unjustified death of black people in America is not a new phenomenon. But so many times we allow the news cycle to come and go while we allow systematic racism to continue to fester. And as I reflected on a message that I wanted to bring, I was drawn to the center of what our profession is about. And it's about education. We have been entrusted by our communities with immense power. They've entrusted us to educate their children. But we have to understand that we have to be educators of much more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. We have to be educators of humanity. We have to be educators that teach students the skills to address injustices and inequity and racism with each other, with society, as they go live their lives. And with anything we teach, we must first become students ourselves and be willing to learn. So as we head into the summer, I would suggest a couple books, and I'm going to put those up on the screen. One of them is the book Bias by Dr. Jennifer Eberhardt of Stanford University. And it talks about the unconscious bias that is within each of us and something that we all have. It's nothing to be embarrassed about, but we all need to address it. This book encourages people to do an inward self-reflection and explains how to overcome some of these unknowingly held prejudices. It's non-preachy, it's non-shaming, and it's a good book I encourage you to get in and take a look at that. The next book is a book by Robin DiAngelo, and it's called White Fragility. And I'll say right now, if the title of the book kind of shook you a bit, or kind of made your gut question, then that's exactly why you need to read the book. This is a best-selling book. It's a New York Times best-selling book exploring the counterproductive reaction that white people have when their assumptions about race are challenged and how these reactions maintain racial inequality. So these are a couple books I encourage all of us as educators to read, as people to read. Look at them. We've all have been students in our lives, and I encourage us to go back to that mindset and read those and do self-reflection. I know, educating myself more about the Black Lives Matter movement, about systematic racism that has occurred in America, is going to be a big part of my self-reading and self-growth in the coming months and over the summer. I encourage you to use these tools to open up dialogue with each other. We must not tolerate and accept racism in our lunchrooms, in our classrooms, in our locker rooms, in our parking lots, in our text messages, phone calls, all of that. Have I been perfect in my personal life? Absolutely not. But I recognize that, and I am determined to learn and be a better person. And I think that's what all of us need to do. So we have a huge task in front of us, and a lot of trust placed in our hands as leaders when it comes to helping to rebuild a better society in the world that we have in front of us. So I encourage all of us to take the summer to kind of reflect on how our role as educators, how you as an educator can be a part of improving that. So kind of transitioning a bit into some of the other updates, I want to continue to emphasize the need to lobby around the budget around education. Okay, so we need money, okay, in public schools in order to operate the way that we need to safely. So I'm going to put that 855 number up on the screen, 1-855-977-1770. Remind you what that number is. It's a hotline, and if you could save this in your phone and maybe call it once a week, it's a CTA hotline. And if you call that number, it is going to give you an update on what the lobbying message is. It'll ask for like your zip code, and then you're going to go ahead and connect you to either your congressperson, your senator, your state legislator, your state senator, whoever we are lobbying that week, that day, whatever it is. So while the video messages may not come as frequent or so in the coming weeks or so over the summer, I encourage you to keep that 855 number though in your phone, and a couple times a week, every week, dial that number, look for the lobbying message, and try to continue to lobby for funding for our students in our schools. So that obviously brings into question returning to work and what that will look like. So as we mentioned, there is a task force that has been ongoing. This week, they're taking a little bit of time off last week of school, and also we're waiting on some updates from health guidelines from the county and the state and so forth. So stay tuned, over the coming weeks for updates from our incoming president, Amy Erbian, as she'll be providing more information about what return to work will look like and the different modules and things that will take place. And also understand that as a union, we will probably having to be negotiating some sort of memorandum of understanding at some point to help address the changes in these working conditions. And we strongly believe in our right as a union that even in difficult times to protect a contract and the rights that we have as employees. So I got my absolute trust in Amy and our bargaining team and our CTA staff that they are going to have our back in the coming days and weeks as these decisions are made. Lastly, the tentative agreement that we've gotten a ton of ballots back. We will be accepting ballots till June 9th in that mailbox, and then we'll be counting them on June 9th. The school board will be voting on June 10th to ratify, and then our plan is to give a message out to members. It's actually planning on being my last message as your president. Probably out on June 11th. We'll give some updates on that ratification, and I'll kind of send a farewell message at that point. If those of you aren't getting the ballots or you have issues, you haven't sent it in, you forget at the last moment, Amy Erbian is going to be at our ARE office on June 8th from noon to 2 p.m. And if you go to aremembers.org, our address is on there, and she'll be there if you want to hand drop a ballot off or vote in person at that point. So again, I encourage all of us to go back to that original message. Take the coming days and weeks to reflect on, your role as an educator in building a more just and equitable world. And wish everybody a good day. Be safe, be healthy, stay engaged, and take care.